bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Hello, welcome to Patriots Across the Pond, Midweek Metals with Matt GEIGER, and another week of nothing is happening in the world. How are you, Matt?
Good to be with you. Doing well, man. Just, hella busy. Everybody's seeing what's happened with gold, silver prices. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're getting a lot of callers from your show, which is great. We just got started, so that's always a good sign.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is. I think of myself less as a gold and silver dealer, more just what I would say is a critic of the system. So I think all these years of the awakening process has really paid off for kind of my insights into the precious metals. It's not just knowing the metals and the history of the stuff and monetary and all that technical stuff. It's also understanding kind of the political and geopolitical stuff where they sort of converge at this certain point. So it's been a lot of fun. How about you guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. I think you make a good point, though, because you can't kind of separate the two. And I think, quite honestly, that's the problem a little bit with the normie population, because they look at it like in a vacuum, and you can't. And that's why I think they miss the mark sometimes. Just my
Well, that's why we have no normie customers. It's all patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have got into the gold and silver business unless you were looking at the world in a different way anyway, would you?
100%.
I mean, most normies believe their money is safe in the bank. It couldn't be in a safer place. Good luck to you.
Yeah, if they understood that the banking system probably has already collapsed, right? It's probably already and has been collapsed for several years now. When you start looking at it through that lens, it's like I thought Patriot Joe brought up a great point on his show last night. Everybody should go watch it on Absolute Storm. But it's like what people don't understand is this stuff's already happened. It's not like you're just watching this stuff and it's just happening in front of your eyes. This stuff is, what you're watching now is something that's already happened and just playing out now in front of your eyes. Now it just becomes reality because you're seeing it.
Yeah. I have to tell you, I have a normie friend, and I feel like an alcoholic. My name is Elisa, and I have a normie friend. Anyway, he is an accountant. And, he works with the IRS every day, and he's, made his living doing this. So anyway, there was some meme or something. I send him shit just to bother him sometimes, like about what's really going on, just to get under his skin and see how he reacts. So about 2 weeks ago, something like that, somebody, I don't know if you saw this, not a meme, it was like a little video of someone saying how the IRS was going to be gone by January 20th. Did you see that? That was like floating around. Anyway,
I've seen some stuff like that. But go ahead, please.
So I send it to him, knowing that we know it's not going to be like one day, but right, that they say all these things because a lot of this stuff has already happened, etc. He got so pissed off. He was like, people like this, they say these things. I'd like to make this guy $1 million bet that the IRS isn't going away. Do you realize that if they did that, how much, you can't just do that all of a sudden. You'd have to pay. And he's giving me all this nonsense. So cut to yesterday, right? Because now it's the 27th yesterday. And he's like, see what I told you? I wish I had been able to get in touch with that guy to tell him it wasn't going to happen. And I laugh because people get so caught up in the weeds of things rather than say, okay, probably not going to be an official announcement on the 20th. It's probably not going to happen. But clearly, if we look at things, it's probably already done. But he gets someone on the phone. So that means the IRS is still around.
I see it all the time. And you know where I see it, and it's unfortunate because I see it a lot in marriages, where it's usually the wife that's awake, and in a lot of cases it's the husband too, but I feel like women have been more intuitive in this movement where they've seen this stuff happen much clearer. And a lot of my friends, are middle-aged women out here, and they're all on board with Q, and they're literally every single one's divorced, and practically every single one of their names is Michelle. So it just so happens to be this weird whatever. But I hate to see it in the marriages. I get it a lot on my calls where it's like, Matt, I watched you on such and so show. My husband has his big 401k or big IRA, and he just doesn't get it. But I think what I've noticed is a lot more people are waking up, and that's what's been kind of interesting about my vantage point is I've really been able to see the awakening process right in front of me just through doing the gold and silver business.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting because you get to. I used to tell people stuff. People are like, "You're out of your mind." I've even gotten hung up on a few things. So, it is what it is. But yeah. Kind of interesting.
I feel the same. I've had a lot more women messaging me, and we've heard a lot. There's not enough men standing up in this, and whether that's because they're, awake or not. But yeah, there's definitely more women that sort of send me messages and have got involved and bought the Where We Go When We Go All T-shirt, etc.
Yeah,
and it's great.
I think men, if we were fair, I think men, for the most part, I don't want to make like a sexist generalization, but I think there's still a lot of traditional, families out there. And I think the man is usually more of the breadwinner, right? Even if the woman works, maybe she's still more involved in the home and everything. And I think men are surrounded more by normies and the rules and the regulations and so I think it's harder for them because as a responsible man, head of household type thing, I think you also get filled with fear. Like, but what if this isn't true? And what if this isn't happening? And I'll put my family in danger. And I'm used to hearing that the stock market's, safe and this is good. So I think a lot of them are maybe more in that world where they become torn, and women have a little bit like, for the most part, right? At least I know when I was a housewife, and like you're freer. You have time to research. You have time to look at things. You have time to follow things. Men don't have that luxury a lot. So you have to guide them.
Yeah. Do you think men have more distractions as well? i.e. football and all this other stuff?
Could be.
And just on a side note, I just want to say that white liberal women have ruined this country.
Yeah.
100%.
White liberal women and their weak white liberal male husbands have also led to the destruction of this country.
Yeah.
And lawyers.
Weak. And lawyers.
Yeah, well, this is why Trump came out so strong, didn't he? This is why Trump didn't watch what he said. This is why Trump turned all this wokery around and gave, many other people the courage to do the same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And those women are, I think many of them have just been so brainwashed and influenced by the women's movement. I even see it sometimes in my daughters, they're 19 and 21, and they get a little caught up in that nonsense. Like when my 21-year-old was 19, whatever she was, I see her getting dressed like in the summer. And I'm like, what's going on your underarms? And she's like, what? I said, you're not going out of the house. You look like a gorilla. And she was like, men don't have to shave. And I, like not to be too graphic, I was like, well, do you have a penis? She's like, no. I said, well, then you're not a man. So shave them if you want to go out. And then she started giggling, She listened to me. But I think they hear this shit and they get absorbed in this whole nonsense. Like the women's movement wasn't about being a man or being a woman. If you're a man, it's about maybe equal right. It's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But I'm saying the essence was like, you should be paid equally. If you're going to follow that, it didn't mean you could do the same. Like, seriously? I said, do you really want to look like a gorilla? So whatever, I think that's the thing with women. They
Well, it's the programming, and they're much more susceptible to the programming. As a matter of fact, I looked it up, this is a fact, but Obama, for his 2008 campaign, hired a guy by the name of Dr. Robert Cialdini. And Dr. Robert Cialdini wrote the book called Influence. And Influence it's basically a book about, everybody, when you read the book, you know everything in the book already. It just defines what you're really seeing. And there's different characteristics of influencing people, really appealing to the subconscious so that you get them to do something, obviously under their own free will. And there's something called social proof. An example of social proof would be, okay, you're driving on the highway and you're looking at the road, the cars in front of you in traffic, and everybody's turning into the left lane. Well, you're going to be like, oh, I got to get in the left lane, and you just turn anyway. So there's that click for you to say, you don't know if that's the right move to do, but because everybody else is doing it, you do it. So to your daughter, she's probably seeing her friends in school or wherever, they're doing this shit, right? So she's saying, well, I want to do it too. And it's actually the most seductive form of influence. And Obama used this guy, unfortunately, because it's a great book, and I recommend everybody read it just for your own seeing. It'll help you see the
Matt?
Influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. Like I said, everything in the book. It's just going to define it for you. And Cialdini was part of the whole Obama propaganda and brainwashing program, unfortunately, because he's clearly one of the best, maybe the best. And that just came to mind when you talked about your daughter. I see it all the time. That's why you see these idiots with the blue hair. They're all right. They all do the blue hair, or they all get the the nose piercing. Right, when you see the nose, when you see the nose piercing, you just see they may as well get a tattoo on their forehead that says "I hate men." Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I was going to say something then. You carry on, Elisa.
Yeah. So what do you think, Matt? Like, do you think we're starting? Oh, go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. Because of what we're doing, what we do, if we see everyone doing something, right, we stand there and go, what the fuck are all that not doing? I'm not doing that, and then we look into why they're doing that. So it's, it's completely different for us. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, without
100%.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lisa, go on.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, do you see like this whole white liberal woman thing? Do you see any shifts in that? Do you still see them? Do you see that maybe they're starting to awaken, or you think some of them are just freaking lost?
I think a lot of them are very lost, especially the older women who are very set in their ways. I watched some of these channels with Scott. Who's the lady that we met at the James O'Keefe rave who does the street interviews? What's her name? Anyway, there's these girls that have YouTube channels. They do street interviews, in places like New York City, and you see these white, older, 60, 70-year-old liberal women, and they just spew nonsense. I mean, it's literally like you can see the programming in their eyes, and it's tough because there's very little hope for them. It's going to take a lot to wake these people up, and I think that's kind of why you need kind of a financial crash, for example, is because people like that won't understand until they're only in these positions to go and parade around for illegals, right? And I love the street interviews where they're like, "Oh yeah, we have a form here. How many illegals would you like to take into your house today?" Right? You've seen those, those are the best.
Yeah.
We're not ready for. We got to think about it, or we don't have enough space, right? Whatever the stupid answer is. But these people are just completely lost, and there's very little hope for these people. I think that they need to get hit in the pocketbook in order to realize, like, hey, you were being literally led to your own. You're being led to the concentration camps, and you didn't even know it.
You didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Right here in Long Island, Long Island, Matt. So right here at the Roosevelt Mall, they had last week. There was a video. It was on my Telegram, Patriots, Awaken Patriots of Long Island. And they were like, I guess 70s. They were older, senior citizens walking through the mall protesting ICE. I mean, the caption was funny. It was like, there's an empty senior home somewhere or something like that. They emptied the senior homes. But I'm like, what are they thinking? Like, I'm just curious what's actually going on in their heads.
There was a massive MS-13 problem. There was a huge MS-13 problem in Long Island. huge MS-13 problem. Trump literally cleaned that up, I think, in his first term. And I'm sure he's cleaning up the rest now. But these people are literally protesting for their own demise.
Yeah, well, I think these are the 4 to 6% not forever, because even if you put the facts and tell these people what's been going on, they're not going to admit they were wrong. I was just trying to find that woman you were talking about. I know the one you mean. I think she's got long, curly, sort of blondish hair. But Mark Dice used to do a lot of that as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Out there interviewing these people. Yeah, it's
we met the two of them. I think it's her name, Brittany. She's a short girl, white girl. She's got kind of the really long hair. She's kind of short. Yeah. She always has a security guard behind her. I met her and her security guard at the James O'Keefe rave back in December. And then there's the black girl who got punched in the face, and she's got kind of the long curly hair, right? There's a bunch of them. They call it the man on the street interviews.
Okay. Yeah, because they if you go back even further, I think I saw one of the late night guys. I don't know if it was Letterman or someone. They used to go out and ask basic questions, like who's the vice president?
Right.
They didn't know, what, just questions show just how stupid people are. But with today, I love when they ask just a simple question and the people have no answers, and they just get nasty. They just start attacking. Walk away. They can't even just walk away. They have to insult the person, because they're so stupid that they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. And
they've been made to think that you're brainwashed. So they've been told that you're the brainwashed one and that you're the person that's stupid, right? And they've almost dehumanized us to such a point where they don't, they don't care what happens to us. They don't mind seeing a conservative thinking person dead. And that's literally the mindset that they've been put in. They've literally been brought to, quite literally Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
And they think it's you.
Yeah, I showed you that little clip the other day, Lisa, about that guy who was saying you're a white nationalist. And he said, well, if you don't know what a white nationalist is, I'm not going to tell you. He said, well, do you know what one is then? And all that. He said, and he stood there. Then he got his phone out to Google it. Right, because he didn't know, and then he said, "Oh, I've got no signal. I've got to go." It's just all the time. They've got no answer. All they're doing is parroting these talking points of retardery, basically.
And it tells me what you obviously have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? You have nothing to do if you're going out just because. Again, it's like you said, the monkey see, monkey do. Right? They someone says it, and then they just join in. I don't know. I like to think it's lessening. I mean, it wasn't a huge crowd of old people that were walking through the mall, but it was, still, they had signs and they were what? And, but I don't know. Is there something better you could do? Really?
I don't even really mind these people so much. It's fine. If anything, it makes them very uncompetitive in life and very weak in society, which, look, that's how you want to approach society. Be my guest. What scares me, and thank God we avoided it, but these would be the people that would be running the country this time right now if Hillary Clinton had won in 2016. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
And then they would have put us in nuclear war. And, 3/4 of us would all be dead. And we'd probably be, rewriting the Constitution right now under the leadership of China, if these people had been able to take power. So, as they say, is the USSR guy once said is, they will, they shot the college professors first, and they took out the useful idiots first. Those are the first people to die under the communist revolution. So the very people that you see protesting in the mall, those are the people that would have been we gone into this communist revolution. Those are the people that would have been first executed.
Yeah, but I do think it's a good thing that these people are becoming more and more absurd, because the people that are associating with them is distancing from them. And I think we've got a massive block in the middle who are awake and know something's wrong. They're not vocal about it yet. They haven't come out and admitted they were wrong. Especially if they've all had this and they're thinking, "Oh, what have I done?" And
there's going to be an "I told you so" moment, and usually I'm not the person that says "I told you so," but I'm absolutely going to be "I told you so." And I know Q says, "Hey, we got to help people." I'm not helping these people. These people can go help themselves. They can figure it out on their own. I want nothing to do with them. I think they're disgusting. And the people who I'm going to help are the patriots, the people that woke up, the people that had real dialogue and really looked out for each other. Not these monsters. I want nothing to do with them, and I'm not helping them at all.
Yeah. I'm going to help the people that would admit they were wrong, and I think a lot of people will. But people that double down and bury their heads in the sand and continue down their path, they're on their own. You can do what they like, 100%. So, I mean, right.
I just want to ask you about your clients. So, how like, do you find that you said you see a lot of kind of conflict between husbands and wives when it comes to the wife thinks maybe it's good to put the 401k in, the husband's do you have like sort of a percentage or like, does that person who believes in the precious metals usually win out? Like, what are you finding, or is it that you just lose the customer?
I think with the uptick in price, a lot of people are now coming around. But now what the spouse that was against it will say, oh well, it's topped out. We just missed the opportunity. We still shouldn't do. So it's I can see how it would be frustrating for whether it be a husband or a wife that might be for it or against it. It's tough, but that's why I've been looking at the years and years of manipulation. I mean, if anybody wants a good mind on the subject, I mean, we talked about the Road to Ruta channel with Bix Weir. I think I've been listening to Bix for 10, 15 years. And he's been calling it. He's been showing us the data, and it couldn't be. He's showing us mathematically on paper. This is what they're doing with silver. These are the deliveries happening this month, right? And we knew something was going on all the time. It's such abstract and obscure information that the average person's going to sit there and be like, what does this even mean? Why do I care about this? Right? Silver's been sitting at $30 for the last, 4 years. There's nothing going on here. There's nothing sexy about this. And then all of a sudden, Bix has been screaming from the hilltops. I almost felt bad for the guy because he's been screaming the right information for 10, 15 years. And then all of a sudden, silver just, within a few month period, 4Xs, 3Xs, but he was right. It's everything's a question of timing. So I understand it from the customer perspective. It's tough because you have to get into some real technical data. You have to get into some real understanding of it. Those who have tremendously benefited. I mean, I've just got calls from old clients over the last, God knows how long, 10 years plus. And I mean, they're getting in touch with me because they're seeing me on the shows. I used to work at companies they didn't know where to reach me, so now they're seeing me on a lot of these Patriot podcasts, which is hysterical. Matt, I saw you on this show. I'm like a big celebrity, but I'm just a gold deal. Who cares? But no, they've all been thanking me like, hey, we got in, boom, boom, boom. My account went from 200,000 and $1 million now, or whatever it is. So it's nice to see that because I think it's the reward for those people that got the information early on from Q. Right, took note of it. We knew gold was going to take down the Fed. We knew there was signaling happen, right? Trump with the currency exchange communication at the top of the escalator when he ran for president, right when he announced. We were getting all these, right, the gold hair for Trump. Many tweets referencing, gold and silver, very subtly. We knew this was coming. It was just a question of when. So here we are. And to people out there, you have not missed the boat yet. I think, I was listening to Juan O'Savin the other day on Nino's Corner. I mean, Juan's talking about silver hitting $400, $500 by the end of the year. We could even see 1,000. He's talking about. So, I mean, this is, hey, if you get in at 150 or 200, you haven't missed the boat. I mean, sure, it would have been nice to get in at 30 or 40, but hey, you still have a tremendous opportunity in this stuff. And as I always say, it's not going to be the price that's prohibitive. It's going to be your ability to get it. So when silver hits 200 or 300, the premium to get it might be another 200 or 100 or $200. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? In other words, who's going to want to part ways with their silver, knowing that, hey, if I just hold on to this could go up to 1,000, 2,000. So for someone to part ways with that, they're going to need a real incentive to do it. So it's not just the spot price you have to worry about; it's also the premium, right? The premium that you pay above spot right now is fairly reasonable, very reasonable. I see when real demand comes in and the shortages really start to show themselves, you're going to start seeing premiums go, could be twice the price of silver. Could be literally you have the price of silver and then the same price of silver to get it. So 2x.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's £82 here in the UK spot price, but to buy one, it's cost you 128 for an ounce. And I've always said to people, I'd rather be 17 years too early than one day too late. And look at the people that bought Bitcoin. Did they miss out at? Was it too much at 1,000? Was it too much at 2,000? Was it too much at 10,000?
Right.
That's the way you got to think
Exactly.
about
You
it.
have to think that way. Yeah.
No, I just want to ask you about IRAs and stuff, but I'll just show you a little video, because if you go on our new website, which we launched last night, and our donate page,
Beautiful.
partners page there, we've got Matt Verity Metals at the bottom. So I'm just going to play your little video that we've done.
Your financial advisor isn't going to tell you this. Your bank won't mention it. And your 401k custodian, they're hoping you never find out. You can convert your retirement account into physical gold and silver. Real metal in your hands or stored exactly where you decide. It's called a gold IRA rollover, and it's 100% legal, 100% IRS approved. And your financial quote experts, they don't get a commission when you take control like this. Wall Street wants your money in their system, in their accounts where they control it. But physical gold, that's yours. Can't be hacked, can't be deleted, can't vanish when the market crashes. Verity Metals, we're the experts. They don't want you to call. Convert your IRA or 401k into gold and silver that you can actually hold. Call 1-888-318-7598 and quote Patriots Across the Pond.
Yeah, there you go. So
I was supposed to narrate that. How come it's got 8?
Well, we had a little trouble like getting it on the site, so
Gotcha,
we had to do that. But we thought it was just important to have that video and see you. And yeah, we just like kudos to our web designer, because we wanted all the logos, and then we wanted people to have
totally. Not just doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's Scott Stone making a cameo in my backyard.
Yeah, that's your lodger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for people that don't know, I mean, obviously over here in the UK it's different, but what's the difference between IRAs, 401ks, and is there sort of anything else there? They're sort of all pensions, aren't they? Sort of things.
I mean, they're retirement savings. You know, pensions are not workable generally. Sometimes a pension, they'll give you some options with it when you retire. You know, like you could take a lump sum, or sometimes they give you the option to actually roll it into an IRA. But generally, it's going to be like IRAs, 401ks, TSPs, 457s, 403b, right? So there's different sort of rules for each type of account. A 457, 403b, and kind of act like 401ks, right? A TSP acts more like an IRA. TSP just has a higher contribution rate. I think you can contribute like $50,000 per year. It's called a thrift savings plan, TSP. And then just traditional IRAs. But effectively what you're doing is, no matter what type of account you have, you're rolling it into an IRA, a self-directed IRA, which is the type of IRA that can hold physical gold or physical silver, right? And then I give people different storage options. So people want to store it themselves. Great. We build the infrastructure for you so that we can ship you your IRA gold and silver directly to your doorstep. And as I always tell people, like, the IRS does not want you holding your own gold and silver. Right. So if you do hold it yourself, which you're welcome to do, I mean, hey, it's a free country. I'm just a gold dealer, right? I'll sell you the gold and silver. Whatever you decide to do with it is up to you. You are supposed to have it held by a third party. So if you do hold it yourself, you could run the risk of an audit. I'm sure some of my clients are holding it themselves. I have no idea. I don't even ask. I just ship them the gold and silver when they want to do it that way. Generally, I'll try to say, hey, let's try to find a local depository close by to you, you know, and just, you know, put it in storage. Then you're compliant. You know, if you take it down to your, you know, local credit union and put it in a safety deposit box, you're compliant. That's totally compliant. It's just they don't want you holding it yourself. If you got caught holding it yourself, I mean, look, you're not going to jail. You know, the IRS will turn around and they say, okay, well, you no longer have an IRA and you got to pay the taxes. So if you have $500,000, you know, whatever amount called $500,000 in your IRA, they're going to say, okay, well, this is no longer an IRA because it's in your possession. You've taken the whole thing as distribution. This IRA goes away, and now you're on the hook for, you know, X amount of taxes. But I think the likelihood of somebody getting audited, no one knows, because there's nothing in the paperwork or paper trail that would even suggest it, you know? But I always tell people, like, err on the side of compliance. Like, I feel, you know, the depositories I think out there are perfectly fine. You know, plus they're IRS approved. The IRS goes in there, make sure that their security features and security setup, you know, meets a certain standard. You know, it's not just some willy-nilly vault. It's actually approved and signed off by the government effectively. So it seemed to me that, you know, look, if Kamala Harris were in office, I'd be saying, hey, hold it yourself. I wouldn't trust any of these places. But with Trump, I think, put it this way. I think the last person to confiscate your gold would be Donald Trump. I think he wants everybody to have your gold and then some, So I think, I think everybody should err on the side of compliance. But again, that's up to the individual.
I was just thinking too, like a lot of people that don't have confidence in banks really don't want to put their gold, and a lot of the banks are actually getting rid of these
safety deposit boxes.
Yeah. So it's not even an option anymore. I want, it's just an opinion. We don't know for sure, but do you really think the IRS is doing audits anymore?
I mean, I have to look. I run a business, so I have to assume they are. Right?
Oh, yeah, no. I'm just saying.
I have my I have my own personal opinions. There's definitely something going on there, but I always have to tell a client, cover your ass. Make sure you're doing this thing by the book, and that's how we're going to set it up for you. We're going to make sure that you're compliant in every single facet. Now, if you do the LLC, which is the self-storage option, which is what we help you. That's the infrastructure that we help you build. That's just a person taking their own risk, and if you feel like, hey, these guys have gone away, be my guest. Look, it's what I do like about it is that I get to ship it to them. It's in their possession and they can inspect it. They can hold it. They can say, hey, Matt delivered, whereas the depository, they don't see it, and there's something nice about, shipping that to somebody's doorstep. Because once it hits your doorstep, you have 60 days, to put it into a facility. Right. But like I said, I mean, I really, especially when I go on these shows, I really try to err on the side of compliance. And that's really how I'll speak to it. From a personal level, there's definitely something going on there.
Stu, did you want to put the our special number so for our viewers?
I just got that ready, actually.
What'd you say?
I just got that ready, actually.
Oh, okay, great minds.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about crypto because what stable coins? What is the benefit of having stable coins rather than something else?
I mean, I've heard that they're gonna bring in the new system using stable coins. I mean, this stuff is a little far out there for me. I'm not a big crypto guy. I own a bunch of crypto. Don't get me wrong, and I've done very, very well in crypto. But I've kind of bought it because other people told me to, kind of a FOMO, if nothing else, right? Social proof, what we were talking about before, yes. Right? Everybody else is doing it. Exactly. we all do it. I don't really know too much. I mean, I think it's less about cryptocurrency and less about going to a new system or QFS. Like, okay, quantum financial system, show me the quantum. I haven't seen it. I mean, I think a lot of these, I think 99% of these cryptocurrencies are going to blow up and turn literally to nothing. My money is on gold and silver specifically, and a little bit of platinum. That's where I've really stored the vast majority of my wealth. Cryptocurrency, sure, and I've got like I said, a bunch of cryptocurrency. We've done tremendously in it, but I just think that there's going to be stuff that comes out that blows away all these other, we see all these cryptos now and we kind of have this tunnel vision. There's probably guys on the sidelines ready to introduce new coins or new whatever that are just going to completely undermine and destroy the cryptocurrencies everybody's been trading right now. I think people have to be very careful of tunnel vision, including myself.
Yeah. I think there's about 8,000 different cryptos out there, isn't there? Right? Something like that.
99% are going away. And none of it's written in the Constitution. The only thing that I can tell people is that, hey, gold and silver are written in the United States Constitution, coins specifically. So why would I diverge from that? Isn't this a whole exercise of restoring the principles of the Constitution?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a mindset. Like, I think some people look at crypto similarly the way you might look at playing in the stock market. You're tracking it, you're getting in, you're getting out, you made a profit. But I think with something like, let's say, XRP, where we know it has real utility and it's probably going to be the rails of the system, and they say it's backed by gold, that's something that I think we could probably assume they've been using that for a while, right? Because
there's a lot of evidence to suggest that. And I would say if there's one cryptocurrency, I would tell people to buy it. And again, I'm not a financial advisor.
course.
But if it's one that I would say, hey, it's what I would do would be XRP.
Yeah, XRP, XLM, right, exactly. And again, it really depends on your mindset. Like any of us who maybe did invest in XRP, we're not checking it every day. We're not worrying about if we're going to sell it. We're just similar to the mindset of gold and silver. You're kind of holding on to it for a long-term, growth and wealth building. But with a lot of the other cryptos, like I know people who say, oh, this was at this and I sold it at that. So if that's your mindset, then good luck and, have fun and, God willing, it's a little more gambling the way I would like sort of categorize it. But I think, like you said, with XRP, I think there's a lot of evidence and there's a lot to be shown that it has more utility long-term and maybe part of the basis or involved in this kind of quantum financial system, if you will. Again, I'm not a financial advisor.
Well, speaking to the crypto people, what I've actually started to notice is I've been getting a lot of calls from the crypto people where they're starting to convert into the precious metals.
Wow.
I have a guy right now that's sending in about $100,000 a week, cashing in his precious metals, or excuse me, cashing in his cryptocurrency. So I would just speak to the traders out there that trade cryptocurrency is that, if you've made some good money on it, you're going to want to call somebody like me and start to actually take your profits in a real currency, right? You're again, another currency conversion from digital, whatever, right? Who the heck knows? I mean, it's just dots and teetles on a computer screen. Start converting some of those profits to the physical precious metals. Get a heavy position in this.
Yeah.
What enabled me to get into the crypto space and take a large position was just the simple fact that I had enough gold and silver that if I lost all my money in the cryptocurrency space, I wouldn't be jumping off a skyscraper window. I'd show up to work tomorrow. I'd be pissed off about it, but I wouldn't. I'd be on the show next Wednesday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to be able to take some risks, but I would say everybody should really insulate themselves first and foremost with the precious metals, and then really expand your boundaries into the cryptocurrencies. That's how I did it, and whatever happens is going to happen. I don't know. I sleep well at night, guys.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anyone else out there who wants to send Matt 100,000 in crypto every week or month, make sure you use that 7598 number there. Thank you very much. So silver went up and topped, didn't it, the other day at 117, funnily enough. And then I think it went straight back down to 107. Yeah. What do you think was the reason for that drop in price? And obviously we always look at those numbers and think Patriots in control. Yeah, Patriots,
you literally just took the words right out of my mouth. Patriots are in control. That means that they're letting the foot off the gas with the short positions. It's absurd. how do you just think about what we're even saying? How does it go from, I think that day it went up, it started the day at about 103? It closed out Friday about 103.50 or something like that. Opened up Monday at like 110, went all the way up to 117, dropped down to 103, and then ended at 107. You have something that people are, but literally you can't keep enough silver on the shelves. We have a 1 to 2 week wait period till you actually receive your silver in the mail right now. How on earth? What other product out there, let's say, or even stock, if everybody's buying it, right? There's a drop that day in price. It makes no sense. Yeah. So somebody's in control on a computer and they're doing the price movements. This all can be controlled with the click of a mouse.
Yeah. That's
what it should tell people. So what we're really seeing right now is we're seeing the paper market separate from the physical market. So what's going to start to, they could drop the spot price down to $10 tomorrow. It wouldn't matter. Dealers are going to still sell it for, if anything, they're going to start selling it for $150. Because we know in the physical market that this paper price, this spot price is complete nonsense.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical. This is just an artificial price. We would start charging whatever, at that point, we'll charge whatever we want, right? I certainly take my profits and I stick it right back into the precious metals. I don't want the cash. Sure, I need cash to pay my bills, etc. Right? We have to keep money in the bank to, people still liquidate their gold and silver to cash. I try to advise against it, but people might need the money for whatever, new roof, buy a house, whatever. So I'm happy to, take in people's gold and silver right now. Dealers should be paying top dollar. They're not. I do. You know, specifically on, you know, I know a lot of companies out there, they sell, you know, for example, 100-ounce silver bars. You know, a dealer's going to pay you 10, 15 bucks below spot price per ounce on a 100-ounce bar right now. Whereas with the stuff that I sell, which is American minted coin, the United States 1-ounce silver American Eagle, we'll pay, you know, $3, $4, $5 above spot. So it's like, yeah, you pay a little bit more to get into the Silver Eagle, but really, what's cheaper? Is it the 100-ounce bar that you're getting maybe cheaper per ounce on the front end? Yeah, but when you go to sell it, you get a dog shit offer. Whereas with the coin commands a much better resale. So it seems to me that the coin is the better value. Plus, it's constitutional. It's a known weight. It's a known purity. It's recognizable, right? It's got the blessings of the U.S. Treasury Department, right? Which is, what are we doing right now? We're shifting from the Federal Reserve into the Treasury system. We've been doing it since 2020, right? It hasn't been, you know, pasted all over the news. It's been happening behind the scenes. But this is why people come to me, is I think I'm giving them good insights, good advice in terms of what to purchase.
Is it the same over there as well, that if you buy coins, if you resell them, you don't have to pay tax, but if you buy bars, you do?
Okay, so it's not an accountant. I don't give tax advice. From my own research, I'm not an accountant. I don't give tax advice. But gold and silver American Eagles are already considered legal tender. So if you sell in Arizona, at least, I don't know what other people's state rules are. We can look them up if you want me to. But in our state constitution, we can operate under $10,000 without any reporting requirements, right? Anything above that, I have to fill out a form, right? And I do. I try to deal in as little cash as I can. But it would seem to me that because it's already legal tender, that you could go and sell me $10 million of silver Eagles or gold Eagles, and there really shouldn't be any tax consequences to it. And again, not giving tax advice, talk to an accountant, right? But for my own research, yeah, it would seem to me that our U.S. coin, it would be effectively like, okay, well, when you go take your money out, let's say you go to the bank and you take out $5,000 out of your checking account, that'd be as if they're taxing you on that $5,000 when you're withdrawing that money. You see what I'm saying? So, and with bars, yes, you would pay the capital gains. So that's another major advantage. And the problem is that there's not really any accountants out there that can give you a straight answer on this stuff, because what accountant's working on precious metals tax? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not really, it'd be cool if there was an accountant out there that really got to understand this stuff and could liquidate this stuff for people and be able to write up in people's documentation to the IRS, like, hey, this person sold silver Eagles. This is a non-taxable event because it's legal tender. So it'd be nice if some accountants would step in. You know, maybe you talk to your friend you were talking about at the beginning of the show, Elise, the one that you said, you know, your accountant friend that you were talking about. Maybe you tell him, hey, look into this for me and get an answer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I'm telling you, a lot of these guys are clueless. A lot of these guys, they're trying to cover their own asses, really, at the end of the day.
Well, you know what it is? They are very, they take all, like, they have to be, whatever it's called, recertified, whatever, to do taxes, or take some freaking test. And I'm sorry to say, most of them are just very arrogant, because they don't realize they have Stockholm syndrome. And they don't realize that they are completely, they think the knowledge they have is helping people. And if all the accountants really understood that paying taxes was voluntary, and they all at once gave their clients advice to that effect, we would have a major rebellion in this country that nobody can control.
It's a great point. And I think that day's coming. I mean, with all this fraud coming out, we talked about it on the last show. With all this fraud coming out, I mean, I think by the time April 15th rolls around, I think there's going to be a lot of disgruntled Americans. There already are, who are going to be looking at this fraud and say, where the hell's my money going? And I was watching my friend, you guys know Lloyd Brunson, right? Of the Brunson brothers. He did a great video the other day on his YouTube channel. I recommend everybody go and subscribe to it. It's just a Lloyd Brunson on YouTube. But he did a great job saying, you know, hey, these guys are just printing money out of thin air. Why am I paying this? As a matter of fact, it's the Federal Reserve committing fraud. So really, the Federal Reserve needs to return all of that money that they've been taking in. See what I'm saying? So in other words, the Federal Reserve is really going to be the one that's cornered in the fraud here, not the American people. It's going to be the Fed. And at that point, I think when that part really gets revealed and Trump really starts bringing that out and showing that to we the people, there's going to be so many stories of fraud. I mean, think about it. He brought up the mortgage fraud with Letitia James, right? And all these government goons. He's just starting to show it, right?
Yeah.
He's just planting the seed. So this is going to build and build and build. It's like the snowball effect, right? You roll the snowball on the grass, and all of a sudden you got this big snowman. That's what he's doing right now, and I think over the next couple months, people are going to see fraud that they couldn't even fathom.
Yeah. And
I've seen a lot of videos. Sorry, I've seen a lot of videos coming out about people saying they've stopped filing their taxes over there.
Good.
I would go on a limb and say there are so many more people that aren't paying taxes, but nobody wants to say it out loud, right? Than we could imagine. And I think if we go back, whatever it was, a couple of months when Trump was talking about the reconstruction, the rebuilding of the Fed, remember that?
Yep.
And Jerome Powell, whoever he is now, was just standing there, looking like a Muppet, and I mean, there was a pretty big calm and all that.
100%. But it was also great, just Jerome Powell being, however many billions dollars over budget, and the guy calling him out in front of the world is one of the greatest builders of all time, who knows how to build under budget. So it's like, what are you going to say to this guy? You're talking to the man.
And then he slammed him again at Davos. So I mean, what do we take away from that as patriots and pattern recognition? Is we take away that, at least I do, this is all gone.
I always love it when Trump goes like that. Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to have the jacket. He was ready for his total setup.
He's always ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very funny. And it just tells you, and I said this earlier in the show, but I'll say it again, is the whole system is fraud. That's what people need to realize. The whole system is fraud. There's nothing real about the system. That's why that's really my best case for the precious metals. And it's not even because I sure, I have a bias because I sell the stuff, I buy the stuff, and I want it to succeed, right? So I try to separate that emotion from reality. But I think also the reality is the fact that the whole system is so fraudulent and so fake and phony that I think getting into, gold, silver, even collectibles, memorabilia, cars, whatever, that's a better place for your money than sitting in a bank, waiting for these bankers to pull the plug on this thing. And then you got, and what's their move? They look at 2008. They crashed the banking system. And then what? They gave us a 24-hour window where they had a gun to our head saying, hey, if you don't give us these $30 trillion, your money's lost, right? That's how they do it. They create these small windows of time where there's no time to negotiate. There's nothing else to do other than say, okay, we'll give you the money. And that was my awakening. And I think I told you guys this once, but I'll tell you again. I remember I was riding the 7 train out to Flushing, Queens, Elisa. And this is like probably 2010. And, Shea Stadium, what used to be Shea Stadium, they were building Citi Field at that time.
Yeah.
And I looked to the left and I see this, they're building Citi Field and the city sign was up on it. I'm like, didn't these bastards just take trillions of dollars to get their bank to get bailed out just 2-3 years ago? And here they are building a baseball stadium. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, the banking system is just nothing but a corrupt cesspool of fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they even changed it around, didn't they? Because it used to be the government that bailed the banks out, well, in this country, but then they changed it around to bail-ins, wasn't it? So that if the banks crashed again and all that, it was the people with money in the bank that would have to bail the banks out.
Exactly. And furthermore, these big stadiums, they get all these tax abatements, they get taxpayer funding from the local community. It's like, okay, well, if I lived in Flushing, Queens or the surrounding area, I'd be like, hey, I get season tickets, right? I get season tickets.
Right. Yeah,
but no.
It's all fraud, and it's so disheartening, I mean, and for anybody who has half a brain and is seeing how much fraud, how much robbery is going on, how could you not think how could you not be a Trumper? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Who is saying anything that's for your benefit out there?
And this is why I love sports. I used to love going right down here on the 101, right down the road, about 10-minute drive is Cardinals Stadium. I used to love going to Cardinals games, and I love going to Yankee Stadium, even Shea Stadium when I was a kid. I love baseball. I loved all the sports, but now it's like when you understand how these sports teams operate, they're the deep state too.
Yes.
Right? They get all these taxpayer funds to build their stadiums, and it's like, how the hell do they do this? I want nothing to do with this stuff. I want nothing to do with it.
Well, and you need like to take a mortgage out on your house just to go to a ball game. I mean, when we were younger, right?
Yeah,
you could
$2 tickets.
$5. So you were up in the bleachers, right?
Yep.
$6, $5 for some popcorn, whatever. Do you see the prices? I want to go to a ball game sometimes just with my
Screw
kids.
these
I'm like,
people.
screw it. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying that kind of money.
People need to get away from the sports, and they need to boycott these sports, especially football. Yeah. Right? Football, it's like the NFL. I remember the last time it was the last time I went to a Cardinals game, but they had the end racism in the end zone and on the back of the helmets and that little tag, and I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. And you know what? I turned it off. Because this is how they're stealing our country. They got everybody watching. You see these people. They're reciting all the sports statistics, and they run into somebody. Oh yeah, Jim Jones had a great game. He passed for 350 yards. There's a 25% chance that they could win the Super Bowl. It's like, shut the fuck up, you idiots. Your country is literally being destroyed, and you're going to end up in a nuclear holocaust if you don't wake the fuck up. Pardon my language.
Yeah.
No,
it's very angry. And getting back to that, when they were kneeling and all of that, you know what? What have you done? You make gazillion dollars a year. You're the reason the ticket prices are so high. Why don't you get on the field and talk about how you did something really good for your community? How you went back into the town that you grew up in, and you're helping the kids that are growing up. What?
Absolutely.
You're sitting there preaching to me? Are you kidding me? I tell you, the anger. I had just as much anger at that point. These son of a bitches who made their fortune because of being in America. And you're going to start telling people there's something wrong with this country?
I own two jerseys. I own 2 football jerseys. That's it. Okay, one is Pat Tillman, because Pat Tillman did give it up. He gave up a huge NFL contract and went over to Iraq or Afghanistan and died on the battlefield. I mean, say whatever you want about the war, and it was all bullshit, right? But he gave his life. He answered the call.
Yeah.
So that's one jersey that I do have, and I will wear, because there's something wrong about wearing another man's name on your back, right? It's a little bit emasculating. It's very emasculating. The second jersey I own is a Buffalo Bills O.J. Simpson jersey. That one's just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the wages these people get. I mean, especially English soccer and soccer, you call it football, we call it over here. It's just a massive money laundering business, isn't it? No one deserves to be paid that amount of money.
Those guys they must be the highest paid athletes in the world of any sport, anywhere.
Yeah, some of them make it. Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched football for 4 or 5 years. All my mates say to me, "Oh, Arsenal are doing really well at the moment. You've picked the wrong time to not stop watching football." I said, "But there's fucking other stuff going on that you need to be paying attention to." But yeah, some of these people are earning $500,000 a week.
Yeah, it's insane, and probably some guys even a lot more than that. But it's like, you guys need to start thinking about the European Union, right? Go pay attention. Go be as passionate as you are about this stupid sport, about what the European Union's doing right now. I mean, they are quite literally an extension of the Nazis.
Yeah,
they are the Nazis reincarnated, and here you are worried about a soccer game. It's just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's probably because we're awake and we just see things for what they are. But people got to snap out of it and just wake the F up.
Yeah, well, I mean, Trump's really put in Europe and NATO in the crosshairs and everything now. And
I love it.
I just want to mention this because Trump bowled into Davos, didn't he, with his testicles in a wheelbarrow in front of him. He read them the Riot Act, gave him a eulogy. Then he created the Board of Peace, which has pretty much eradicated the United Nations. And people are watching this and going, what is going on? You know, well, we're not, but the normies are.
Totally. It's a very sad state that humanity's in, but hopefully, you know, they're talking about a false flag attack coming up. I think that, you know, that's probably in the cards, and hopefully this will get people to start to snap out of it and change their priorities from this nonsense to what's going on. I mean, we have so many problems. I mean, I'm here in Arizona. You know, I have a group of friends that would go down to the Board of Supervisors meetings I think it was every Wednesday, and they did this for like probably going on 2 years. They stopped going like probably last year because it was just what it wound up being was it was just a futile exercise. They wouldn't listen. They would just pass whatever they wanted. There's no dialogue about it. They just, you know, they've already implemented legislation here in Arizona for the 15-minute cities. It's already done. It's on the books. The Board of Supervisors has already passed it. So in other words, they're just waiting to enact that stuff. It's just a matter of time. If something's not done, you know, we're screwed. Now, I think something will be done, and I think we'll be just fine. But, you know, if we didn't have Trump, they would have just passed this legislation, and we would literally be sitting here in Arizona in 15-minute cities.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Do you, how much of that? Okay, so if we start with the premise that the white hats are in control, right? And we start with the premise that they know everything that's going on just because of the technology, that they could tell what's going on everywhere, especially Arizona. You know what I'm saying? Because that was like a hub of a lot of stuff.
So 33rd degree parallel. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is this another example of the 2020 election? We're going to let them just keep going, and we're going to let them do their thing, and we're going to, so that we could come down and come in and freaking tear them apart.
You're saying, do I think that they're going to, again, in the 2026 and 28?
No. What I'm saying is I'm using that as a metaphor, that what happened, they knew what happened during the good guys, what happened during the 2020 election. They knew the fraud that was happening. They knew they turned, you know, they changed everything, et cetera, but they let them commit the crime. Right. So I'm saying now switch it to the local stuff that's going on in Arizona right now, right? And 15-minute cities. Do you think it's the same playbook that they're saying, well,
no.
You know, let them.
No, because I think what Trump's going to do is and he's already starting to do it, is he's elevating the awareness of the 2020 election fraud. It's starting to come out.
Yeah. Right. So what I'm saying is he's letting them do what they have to do, but they're not going to go through it. They're not going to be able to go through it.
What Trump, from what I understand, is that by 2026 midterms, we're gonna have paper ballots. Right. And they're going to fight back. Like, for example, Virginia is already fighting back. They're already saying that the machines have to be used. If it's a close election, you cannot recount it. There's no recounts allowed. Like, they're literally so corrupt in Virginia. I think it's Virginia, or West Virginia. I think it's Virginia. They're already trying with their new people that are in office. They've already started putting in legislation to try to lock up the ability to even have paper ballots or have any recounts. But the problem is that Trump has certain powers that he can come in, and, you know, my legalese is limited. So, you know, I can't really give you the technicals of it. But I think what we're going to see in the 2026 midterms is that Trump's going to he's going to enact paper ballots everywhere. There's going to be pushback from certain pockets around the United States, probably a lot of places, California, Arizona, New Jersey, New York, right? Illinois, right? These people are going to say, no, we need to use these machines. And then at that same time, you're going to have a lot of the 2020 election information coming out, where we're going to just be sitting there saying, on a very reasonable position, just saying, hey, let's just go to paper ballots. You know, may the best man win. Hey, if you're going to win this election, it's perfectly fair for you too. But we really need these paper ballots because we've seen already in the news that there's all these anomalies that have happened in 2020, and it does look like it was rigged. But let's just have this free and fair election. And they're going to have to sit there, right? It's always Trump putting them in these positions where they have to argue for something like keeping MS-13 members in the country, right? They're fighting for the Maryland man, the MS-13 guy, right? Abreu, or whatever his name is, Kilmar. Yeah, they're literally taking the position of protecting MS-13, you know, traffickers, human traffickers, literally. That's what I think he's going to position them to do during the 2026 midterms. And it's probably going to be a long fight where we're probably going to get to a point where everybody votes. There's going to be so much blatant fraud, and we had already learned about that fraud leading up to it, so there's awareness of it. that there's going to have to be a recount. And if there's no recount, now they're in a very losing position. And I think at that point, you'll have a lot of consensus among people to say, hey, no, we need to do paper ballots. We're going to redo this election in one day. People are going to see that it takes just one day to do a paper ballot election, not the 2 months that it's going to take for everybody to argue and to count the ballots, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of the scenario that I see playing out.
Well, it's very interesting because I think what we see is like a convergence of a lot of stuff. You've got Maduro.
Yep.
So that's going to bring a lot of stuff to the forefront. We also have the whole Nasara thing and, the 180 days new election. But interestingly enough, we also have what's going on with the military, because now that they're, fighting and ICE and, all this other stuff, and they're going to start to put not just the National Guard, but like Marines or whatever into these different places. I think we're headed to a sort of crescendo with all this stuff where everything's going to come together at the same time, and plus all the fraud that's coming out, right? Just in general, these clearing centers, and and then here in New York with the I think it was the like the health centers for older people, or the the Medicare places. So I think we're headed for like a big, just everything's going to come together at the same time. Because when's the midterms? We still have a number of months, right? So there's a lot of time to put all these pieces into place.
And what a great way to bring in the military.
Yes.
Right. To start introducing the military would be through the fraud, through the elections, right? Because that is the military's job, is to, at the end of the day, preserve the, the safety of the country. So it'll be fun to watch this whole dynamic change. And I think all of us, your audience, the three of us, I think we're all going to get a great sense of relief once we start seeing the arrests happen. I think we're all going to feel that we all have this weight on our shoulders, right? You can palpably feel it. And it's just going to be like that weight just starting to just drip off of you. And you're just going to feel like,
Eureka.
Yeah, Eureka. Exactly. And Stu, we need to get you out here in the United States, because I think it's going to take a lot longer for Europe and specifically Great Britain to really sort things out. So you can come stay with me.
Well, I'd love that. I am coming out there in April for my first visit. I have not wanted to go to America for a long time before Trump came in, because I thought, I don't want to be over there for all this shit that's going to go down with the New World Order. But I just want to say a couple of points. I do believe that most of this will be sorted out in the open and election stuff, so that when we go to the midterms, it may be a fair ballot that will be done absolutely properly, and Trump will win that landslide. Just want to say a couple of other things. There was we saw that little video the other day about that ICE agent in the car, and he said, "You guys, we're here to arrest a child rapist, a paedophile," and
I saw that.
Do you know what I mean? And he was trying to get it through to these people. But I just want to say one more thing.
That's madness. I saw that clip, and that was great. He pulls his mask down. It's a Hispanic guy. He's like, listen, we are here to catch a rapist, and you guys are honking your horns. Stop honking.
And what people don't realise is a lot of these ICE agents all are Hispanic and all different.
That's right. They're right. They're different people who probably came here legally, went through the system, waited years, had to be separated from their families. Like, they make it seem like every single Hispanic and every single person, from South America just freaking came through the borders. Like, no, they did it legally. They had respect for the system. They wanted to be Americans, and they wanted to, assimilate into the culture and have a better life for their children. So it's awful when they make it, and then you see these agents, and they're fighting for the country.
Yeah, and remember, Trump's going after the criminal illegals right now. He's not even going. He even said in a speech last week, he was saying, hey, he actually pulled back his statement a little bit on illegal immigration. He says, we're going to do effectively something to the effect of, like, we're going to do something, the hotel workers and, the people that are doing, working in the fields, picking, different vegetables, whatever.
Sure.
We're going to have some leniency toward these folks. So there's going to be a deal made for the stand-up citizens that, pay into the system, that do jobs that, sure, maybe other people don't want to do. And hey, but those low paying jobs. These people are, it's slave labor. So really what the Democrats are enabling is slavery again, because these guys are getting paid $5 an hour to go pick, strawberries out of a field, and they, and they're for this. So in other words, the Democrats once again are promoting slavery, which is, it's not funny, but it's pretty hysterical, the hypocrisy of their viewpoints. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to say. Has Juan talked to you at all about the potentiality of another false flag? I mean, we think the Patriots are in control. We don't know how much power this swamp still has. Have they got any nuclear weapons? Because, I mean, Cliff I has been saying for a long time that we might see something like 9/11, but on a magnitude of 13 times, and it's... I mean,
I know I've met Juan. I've, corresponded with him a little bit. I don't talk, he doesn't talk to me about this stuff. I've just had some opportunities to meet him and sit down with him, pick his brain a little bit. I'm not like Nino where, he sits down with him. I've just been fortunate to kind of rub elbows with him and some other people. So, I mean, as far as what his viewpoints are, he should come on your show and tell you, and I'll certainly, shoot him a text or something and say, hey, would you, be willing to go on the show? Because I think you guys are doing a great job. But yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, he doesn't talk to me about this stuff. If anything, it's me watching him on, a place like Nino's show or, Scott McKay or, whoever. That's really where I'm getting the insights from. And I think, it would be something interesting to ask them yourselves. But and I hate to cut this short, but I'm getting literally phone call after phone call. We've been going. I couldn't believe it over an hour.
Thanks for giving us the hour, because I know you said usually 45 minutes. This show is great. I mean, you just have so much information, and I love your Patriot spirit. That's what we need on here. We need people to have that. So anyway, we're gonna see you. I want everyone to realize you're gonna be in New York too. So in April 25th, 26th for the Awakening Summit. And thanks for being here. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. My return to Long Island.
Yes. The Democrat Party will cease to exist when all this is done.
That's right.
Probably, maybe the Republican Party too. But let's see what happens. Yeah.
All right, guys. Mate. Good to see you both. God bless, and I'll see you next week.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
See you later. All right. We're going to stay on for a little bit. All right.
Cool.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye.
Great show. Wow.
Everyone, what we're going to do, we're just going to have a little show you of our website, are we?
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if you're, we're okay. So we get notified, and I think we have like 10 people just since we went live that have already signed up and submitted their email. So that's great, because eventually we're gonna communicate with you guys on some other fun stuff going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get it up. There's our website. That looks quite snazzy, don't you think, Elisa?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, love it. Right. So we've got patriotsacrossthepond.com. A bit of stuff about us. Not going to go into it all. There's me there, Elisa there. We've got all our latest episodes. We've just got to update these feeds so it all comes through properly. But obviously, we're one behind now. 9 of our latest episodes in order, and it all looks lovely. My mate and our website designer, Jamie, he's built a few websites lately. He hasn't done it for a few years, but he's sort of got a little taste for it again. And if anyone wants a website built, he is interested, and he says he doesn't mind doing maybe a couple a month or something like that, because he is working doing other things, obviously. But if anyone wants some, please send an email to contact@Patriots Across the Pond, and we shall forward on your details. And then we've got some Great Awakening little teaser videos here that I've done. There's about 25 of those, 26, I think.
Yeah. And that's great, because sometimes, you can't tell your friends, you can't tell them, just this is a great resource. We tried to pull together some of the most, I guess, educational ones that are short and sweet, and they give a lot of information, and it's not coming from you. It's like, well, just check out this website. They have some really good information on what's really happening behind the scenes for the last 8 years.
Really are some of our favourite. There's Joe Biden mega mix I did there on the end, but there's some great information there in little clips. We will be doing a merch store at some time, but all we wanted to do was just get the website out. There are a couple of little donate things. We would never charge anyone to watch us, but you know, this information needs to get out, and we love doing it. But if anyone would like to buy us a coffee, that's not live at the moment. We've got to set up a bank account for that. But XRP, Bitcoin, and Stellar, and we have some partners. Should we just go? We got Mr. Hills. Yeah. Click on these for more info. Mr. Hill does modern wellness, old school remedies, CBD tinctures, methylene blue, gummies and edibles, THC-free wellness and functional remedies. There's lots of great stuff there. Patriots Across the Pond, you can get a little discount on that. Biozox, this is ivermectin fenbendazole, which a lot of people are looking into. Freedom Forge coffee, which was made with mushroom tincture, isn't it? And mushroom tinctures. Yeah, this is really great stuff. I haven't tried that yet. Mine's in the post, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Lisa's been slurping on it.
Yeah, obviously, no, my family's been drinking that.
Yeah, Matt Geiger there, which we do. And then this is Impact Health. Now, we had
Dr. Randy Shannon, and we also had Thomas BARA. They were on, I guess, a month and a half ago. They came on the show, and they were telling all about this. This is an alternative for Americans and who are looking for an alternative to the corrupt health insurance. This is a health share. It's much cheaper. There is much more opportunity to go outside your network, and you can see any doctor you want. You also have a lot of perks where they actually reward you for healthy behavior. If you belong to a gym, if you take supplements, if you buy a mushroom coffee, you can actually get up to $150 off of your deductible by submitting those things. And as I said, I saved $15,000 a year on my health insurance by switching to Impact. You get a person, they help you. So it's worth checking out the site if if anybody is looking to switch their coverage.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we would never advertise anything that we didn't feel might be beneficial to Patriots and any Patriots friends out there. We've got a contact form here, and
the socials.
Yeah, Elisa and I, you can have a little navigate around this page. That takes you to her Substack. Obviously, there's some great stuff on there. Elisa's put some great things on there. I've put one post on there, and I've got another one to do. But if you do, this is a nice little thing. If you click on contact there, it actually puts for the attention of Stu. And if you click on Elisa's side, it put for the attention of Elisa if you want to ask us anything specifically. But yeah, and then obviously we've got our bios, so there's a load of waffle there about me, and there's a bit of waffle there about Elisa as well, just a little introduction. So yeah,
we're really happy.
I know we really like that. Looks amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah,
we're very happy with it.
So tomorrow, we got a pretty interesting show tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I did put a post out earlier that Jason's not about on Friday this week because he's him and Dina are going to watch Melania, the premiere. So Elisa and I might be doing that as well in our respective countries. Yeah. I've looked into it and I've put a message out, see if anyone wants to go, because I'm not going to cinema on my own. Certainly not. But if any of my Awaken chums want to go and have a little watch, we're going to go. So Elisa might be doing the same. And tomorrow, Elisa, who have we got on? Excited.
We've got Ms. Jan Halper-Hayes. And many of you know she has been very involved in the Trump administration. I had the pleasure of meeting her at the Quantum Summit 2 last year in Cape Canaveral. She is not only chock full of information and knowledge, but she is just such a lovely woman. And she did live in the UK for a while. So she's, I think she's back in the States now, but she's, she knows England well, and she lived there for a while. So she's going to come on. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. So that's going to be at 10:30 Eastern, 3:30 UK time during what normally is just the time, just the podcast that Stu and I do together. So we're going to have Jan on tomorrow.
Yeah. And we're going to be potentially doing that on our Thursday show with other guests in the future. And Jan did give us a couple of subjects she wanted to talk about, but I did say to her, would you also mind talking about England? She went, oh, yes, of course. So that'll be interesting to find out, you know, the situation of what's going on both sides of the pond.
Absolutely. I know she's going to talk a little bit about Venezuela, you know, in Canada, how it's all connected. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right, well, there we go then. I shall finish that. I think I've got Matt's little video again as an outro today, just while we do our Wednesday show. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Much love to you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully.
Yes.
There we go one, we go all.
Have a great day, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Your financial advisor isn't going to tell you this. Your bank won't mention it. And your 401k custodian, they're hoping you never find out. You can convert your retirement account into physical gold and silver. Real metal in your hands or stored exactly where you decide. It's called a gold IRA rollover, and it's 100% legal, 100% IRS approved. And your financial quote experts, they don't get a commission when you take control like this. Wall Street wants your money in their system, in their accounts where they control it. But physical gold, that's yours. Can't be hacked, can't be deleted, can't vanish when the market crashes. Verity Metals, we're the experts. They don't want you to call. Convert your IRA or 401k into gold and silver that you can actually hold. Call 1-888-318-7598 and quote Patriots Across the Pond.